Well, hello, everyone. Here we are, DNTV. I'm excited. And tonight we have Reverend Shawn. I'm so excited. And really, he's a wealth of knowledge that I hope to, you know, glean from. And so I'm back again, you know, your host, S with the most S. Anyway, uh, I'm going to bring him in right away because he's got a lot of interesting stuff he can impart to us, and we won't waste a minute. Hello, how are you?
I heard the intro. I think
Uh
you got
huh.
the wrong guy.
I got the wrong guy. Oh, come on. You know some stuff.
I know
Um,
some
what
stuff.
what I
Yeah.
wanted to ask you is where did you go to seminary? I didn't know.
I never attended seminary. I'm ordained through Agape Christian University
Hmm.
and the American Association of Exorcists.
Okay. Alrighty. Yeah. Have you ever done any marriages or, you know,
I can
baptisms or
I
anything
can
like
I
that?
can do it all.
Yeah.
I am ordained, fully ordained. I can do all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
I haven't done, that's funny. I haven't done a wedding in a while, but I've done
Uh-huh.
a few of those. They're
Those would be
fun.
much better than an exorcism, I'd think. You know?
Yes, absolutely. I wake
Yeah.
up every day, pray that I never have to take authority over another exorcism again. And if it was just all baptisms and weddings, I would be a happy man. I do baptize a lot, and
Yeah.
especially clients that reach out to me for help if they're either Catholic or Christian or born again.
Hmm.
Um, if they're having those kind of issues,
Hmm.
I will I will offer the rite of baptism to them, and usually they accept that, and so I do a lot of those.
Yeah. I was baptized as a little tiny baby. I grew up in the Methodist Church and Lutheran. I was a Lutheran.
My
um,
wife's Lutheran. She's an ordained
uh,
Stephen minister through the Lutheran Church, so that's
okay.
interesting. You guys have that in common.
Yeah, yeah. My grandmother on my father's side was a Lutheran because they were German. And then my grandmother on my mother's side was Methodist because that was what the church was in our town. There was one church and you didn't get a lot of choices. But no, it was a good group. And I grew up in the church. And so I'm pretty familiar with, my Bible. So I wanted to kind of ask you a couple
And you
questions.
turned out okay. Look at you.
Yeah, I know, right? Just because I'm a pagan now doesn't mean, that the church is necessarily bad. It just wasn't for me, And but there was the other day you talked about there was this woman who had taken in a witch as a homeless person and then had to ask her to leave. And then she said she had three knocks on her door, and you had mentioned that it was like she was mocking the Holy Trinity.
Hmm.
But I kind of would beg to differ on that
Sure.
viewpoint, only because the number three is significant in every religion and
Absolutely.
every community on Earth has something with the number three. And if you look at anatomy and physiology, we have so many things in our body that are threes. We have three layers of epithelium. We have three layers to the eye. I mean, there's just like a thousand things that are coming threes. So much so it was kind of scary, you
Yeah.
know. So is that? I mean, would you like to clarify maybe your take on the number three and what its significance to you?
To me, I always think of the Holy Trinity when when I think of threes in terms of what I do. And I'll be honest, the longer I'm in this field, the less I feel I know. I probably experiencing something that I've never seen, heard, smelled, experienced before, something new all the time.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
what I usually associate with this, now, this is just all of this is in theory, and in
Hmm.
many colleagues in my field, just, you know, it's of the opinion that when you get the 3 knocks, the doorbell rings 3 times, there's no one there, the 3 scratches on the wall, the 3 knocks on the wall, being poked 3 times. And I probably, now that I'm thinking back to that note that I got from that person I pulled out of my mailbag,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't specify. Later on, I found out that I was just assuming this was happening in the middle of the night, usually around 3 in the morning. And why they say that is probably the mocking of the Trinity, was it's widely believed in my field that Christ was crucified at 3 in the afternoon. So when you're getting these knocks and scratches and being tormented at 3 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
it's the exact opposite of that. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's the mocking of the Trinity. Do we
Okay.
know that to be an actual fact? No, but that's just widely
Yeah.
believed in my field that 3. And I was correct in assuming. I should have known better than to assume. But when I reached out to her after the show, this usually was happening 2:30, 3:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So that gave me, regardless of what the actual meaning to the 3 knocking
Mm-hmm.
is, that's never good when that usually happens at that time in the morning. It always seems the really bad stuff that you probably want to pay close attention to, and have your spidey senses go up and a red
Yeah.
flag go up that I might need to reach out to somebody for some help, is if
Mm-hmm.
that sort of stuff is happening to you around 3 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
Again, why? We don't know for sure. It's just
Okay.
widely believed, that accepted, that that's the demonic mocking the Trinity.
Okay. Yeah, well, the demonic. Um, but witches for in general are not demonic. I mean, we're just really normal people that prefer to worship in a different fashion, than Christians. And I was a Christian. I call myself a reformed Christian. I don't know how Christians take that, but that's my take on it. So, because I went to church every single week of my whole entire life until I was probably 20. And but it just was, I have issues with the Bible. I'm just going to say it because, it was written by a man. And he basically locked the scholars in his castle for like a year until they wrote it the way he wanted it. And so to me, that says, maybe not so much divine intervention there, but then he Prince or Prince King James, he wrote the demonology of King James, and while he was living in Scotland, committed genocide to the Scottish people. And then when he became king, they let him write a book. And to me, it's like I have a hard time saying that it's not fiction. But what's your take on that?
Well, I don't. I have so many friends from so many different walks of life and religious belief systems in place in their lives, and many of them don't have a particular religious belief system in place. I know friends of mine who are atheists. I have a lot of friends who are of indigenous heritage. I ask many of them all the time, "Do you think we pray to the same God?" I mean, I hear you speak
I
to
think we
Mother
all
Earth.
do. I
Yeah, I
really
think so
do.
too. But
I
I
think
hear
that we all
them.
pray to a universal creator, someone who created all of us and everything that we see, and someone who put order to the universe, and someone who cares about us and what happens in our lives, and who guides us in our lives. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. And the thing I did like, you prayed for her, and you said, just bring her peace or something like that, something kind. And I thought that was really nice and
Well,
a good
even
way
the
to
people that
handle
come to
that.
me
Just in
that
any case, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's still a good prayer.
absolutely, and
Right.
many people that come to me, I have many come to me before they picked up the phone to call me, they didn't believe in anything. But now that their life has been turned upside down and they're under a spiritual attack, and it's just, you know, things are not, their life is not good, and they've finally gotten to, they're hanging over the edge of the abyss by their fingernails, spiritually and emotionally, and, you know, ready to jump and reach out to me. Um, I'm not that kind of reverend that gets his preach on. I don't try to convert anybody. You're not going to see me on the corner standing on a box with a
With a
repent now, the
sign.
end is near sign, uh, Bible thumping type guy.
Right.
I'm not, that's not me. But what I
Right.
will try and do is I realize I need to do whatever I have to do to appeal to this person to try and turn their thinking around. So at least give them the courage. I'm there to put my arm around them, help them draw their line in the sand, make a
Hmm.
stand, fight
Hmm.
back. I have no
Yeah.
magic powers, but I want to instill that power in them because
Right.
everybody that's under attack, they are really truly the only ones that have the power to
That's
turn their
true.
life around and fight back. So I don't
Hmm.
want to turn them off. If I get too preachy and try to convert them, that's
Yeah.
a turn off.
Yeah.
So many times I will say, listen, are we under agreement that something of an extreme, perverted, lower vibrational,
That's funny you
malevolent
say lower
force,
vibration.
yeah, is trying to drag you down somewhere you don't want to go, has
Right.
tried to, for lack of a better, description, tried to kill you. Are we
Yeah.
in agreement that this is going on? And if I can get them to agree to that, I go, so is it that hard to imagine that there's a much higher vibrational power of love and light watching over us? That if you just start praying to that, and however you want to pray, some of these people don't even know how to pray,
No, they don't.
whatever name you want to attach to it and whatever prayers you want to pray, whatever this entity is, imagine that it's right above you.
Hmm.
Look at it, speak in your own words, pray in your own words, ask
Hmm.
for help, believe in the power of prayer,
Hmm.
ask for help. Can we agree on that? And many times they will. There's times where some of them say, well, no, because I don't believe in that. Well, what do you believe is happening to you? I don't know. You're the expert. Fix it for me.
Yeah, see, and you can't fix it
No,
for them. That's their cross to bear, so to speak.
it's very sad. So
Yeah,
many cases
it
I have to
is.
cut
Hmm.
loose, and
Yeah.
I have a bleeding heart. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and when I have to do that, I feel like not only have I failed them, I've
Yeah.
failed God. And why am I even in this field? I mean,
Yeah.
so it's very sad. But if I can get the person to at least admit to that, agree to
Hmm.
that, then we can start fighting. And many times people will come to me of a different religious belief system. And the first thing I ask them is, do you have a religious belief system in place? Yes, I'm Jewish or I'm Muslim or, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Do you go to a church? Yes, I do. Well, isn't there anybody there that can help you? I've been to my church. There's nobody there that can help me. That's why I called you.
Yeah.
Well, I will try and actually find somebody. And this just recently happened to me. I worked an exorcism case where
Hmm.
the girl first reached out to me. She was Jewish,
Hmm.
and she asked me to Google her, so I did. She's in the entertainment field. So I
Right.
told her, well, Google me too. While we're Googling each other, Google me
Yeah.
too.
Well,
She
yeah,
did.
you're probably on Google.
Well, she came right back to me and said, oh, I don't think you can help me. I'm Jewish.
Oh,
And there's so much I wanted to say to her at that
yeah.
moment, but I didn't. I'm all, if that's how she felt, there wasn't
Yeah.
anything I could say at that moment to turn it around. So I said, tell you what, I will find somebody that can help you.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I found a messianic rabbi, and I didn't really
Oh,
know that they believe in Jesus as being the Son of Christ. Blew me away.
really?
I hooked the two of them
I
up
didn't know that.
together. Yeah, I hooked the two of them up together, and he was an exorcist. I didn't know there was a Jewish exorcist.
Huh.
So
Well,
see,
I
here I
think I've
am.
known Jewish
I
exorcists, but not Jewish Christians.
Well, it blew me away, and they hit it off. Famously, and
Yeah.
ultimately he reached out to me. He said, I've scheduled the exorcism. Yes, your hunch was right.
Wow.
She's in need of that. And he blessed me with asking me if I would assist him. And when I told him, well, I know that about your faith and how you approach the demonic, he says, I just need
You'd
you
be
to come and,
surprised how similar it is, to what you do know.
yeah,
It's all
absolutely.
very similar, throughout religions and throughout, humanity, communities, and civilizations. We all just we seek comfort. We seek guidance, in our lives, and you know I think everybody just needs purpose and guidance. And, if you can offer that, then, you're not doing too bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, he blessed me to ask me to come and assist him, and that was an experience I'll never forget. He just said, "Be you, and do what you do, but I'll be the one taking authority," and that was
Was there a demon like that you actually exercised in that case, or?
I believe he was highly gifted
Mhm.
psychically too, and in addition to being such a devout holy man, and I believe he was speaking with many demons there at this
Mhm.
particular case. So it was quite incredible.
Wow.
And yeah, so that'll be an experience I will never forget. But see, I hooked them up to, I knew that at that, I needed help. I needed to
Yeah.
reach out to somebody like him to help her.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how it turned out good. Many cases I have to cut loose. Many cases I do find other people. I can sense that for whatever reason I'm not right for that particular client or right for that particular situation, and I don't want to make things worse.
Right.
So I will many times find somebody else, um,
Sometimes
and
witches
hook
are
them
good at
together.
stuff like this,
Absolutely,
cleansing houses and, closing portals and, just all kinds of like esoteric things like that, um,
absolutely.
witches kind of can hone in on. And a lot of times, like, I don't think I'm particularly psychic. Um, if I'm like, what's her name that was on Frasier? Well, I might be just a bit psychic.
Yeah.
But I think I just have an active imagination. But
So funny you bring her up. One of my wife and mine favorite shows is The Resident, and
okay.
the one of the head female doctors in that show, who helps run the hospital, is that actress who played the maid
Daphne.
in
Yeah,
Frasier.
Daphne.
It's yeah, she's great.
Daphne Moon. It was Daphne Moon. Yes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right though. I have many friends who are witches, and just anybody in our field, my field, and your field, can go down the wrong path. And what
Oh,
I
yeah.
just pray for those people. It's like a priest who molests a young boy,
Mm,
witches who go down that path and start casting ugly
yeah.
spells on
Yeah,
people.
and
I
there's people who have black souls, and it has nothing to do with any religion that they belong to or don't belong to, because you can find them in every religion. And
absolutely,
frankly, there's like, some of these kids, they call it Christianity PTSD, because they were forced into these, like, kind of like cults. And then now they're just like, anxious and nervous and sick, and they, because they were forced into situations that they just couldn't handle. And this
absolutely,
was the church. This is not how Jesus taught us to love, by forcing somebody to do something they really are not into. But I just always try and follow his example. And whether or not he was the Messiah, he was a great guy. I think. And as far as child of God, I think we're all children of God. And I really feel like, maybe he was special because we still talk about him today. He
absolutely.
could have been a witch. He healed people, and he, took care of the sick, and he didn't like avarice and greed. And so, he could have been anything, any number of things. And I question the New Testament only because it was written 400 years after his death.
Mhm.
I think a little detail might have got forgotten in the meantime, but it's just me.
You
But
are good. You are a good person. I've done my research on you,
oh, have
and
you?
yeah, I'm a stalker. I'm a stalker at heart.
Yeah,
And you are a good person. You've got a good soul. Everybody loves you, and so you do you,
yeah,
and I know you come from love and light,
yeah.
and your heart's in the right place. So, and that's all that matters in
And
life.
I think
And
that same thing of you, Reverend John. I think that you come from a place of belief, and that you are not, in it to harm anybody. I think this chat has been really good for both of us, to understand one another, and the different sides of, any topic like religion. It's like the two things you never really want to talk about: politics and religion. But here we go.
Well, I'm the first one to admit that, like I said, the longer I'm in this field, the less I feel like I know.
Yeah,
For instance, many cases that come across my desk that are people that live down in the southern Bible Belt or the Bayou country, and they've got
yeah,
ancestral history of like
hmm
southern hoodoo and voodoo and Santeria and things of that nature. Many times I've reached out to friends of mine who are very well versed on witchcraft
hmm
and the occult and are witches
hmm
and but they're not evil. And
no,
I reach out to them for
most aren't.
advice, and sometimes I've had them on many cases assist me on
hmm
cases where I feel like I'm in an area where I'm not too familiar with it. I don't want
hmm
to, say or do the wrong thing and make things
Right.
worse.
Yeah.
So, but I can usually tell when a person's heart's in the right place,
Yeah.
and the rest of them I just pray for them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's all you can do, because the only person you have control of is you, and everyone else can do or say whatever it is they want to do or say. And I just pray for their souls, because I believe in karma and the things that represents, that if you treat people fairly and you are honest with them and you love, you know your love is real for people. I think that karma sees that, and that's what you get in return. If you are good to
Absolutely.
people, good things come to you. you know and when you're not, karma will visit you.
It was kind of
So,
funny. I'm on this show. It was hard for me having a show of my own. It was hard for me not to come here with a bunch of questions for you because it's Ask Madam.
well, that's true.
Um,
And feel free, ask me anything.
I didn't prepare anything because I was like, I'm dying to, but
Yeah.
this is not your show, Rev.
Well, I know,
This
and if you'd
Adam's
like to
show.
ask Madam a question, I'm
I
I'm okay with that.
something may pop in, and I might think of
Okay,
something. But
that's fine. And I'm fairly well read, but I haven't watched television in 3 years.
really,
Yeah,
oh
so
my, wow.
yeah, I didn't like the news. It was alarmist, and I thought it was maybe not really true most of the time. And so now I listen to BBC and NPR on the radio, and I listen to music. Music is beautiful to me. And it's one of the amazing things that I think God gave us, was the
Absolutely.
ability to make music and art. I mean, just beautiful things in this world.
Are you a musician or an artist at heart? Do you do any of that?
Yes, I am. I do sculpturing, and I sing, and I sang in church. That was where I got my start. I sang when I was little. I would sing solos in church, and the organist took an interest in me, and she cultivated my talent. And I went on to high school and was in singing competitions and stuff like that, and won a bunch of karaoke stuff. Because that's always fun. I like karaoke. You ever sing? You ever sing karaoke?
You don't want you don't want me singing. I've
No?
been told I have an okay voice, but I never really got into the karaoke thing. Man, back in the day, I had some friends who were just, oh my God, they lived for that 1 or 2 nights a week to
Hmm.
go to their favorite place to do the karaoke, and the
Yeah.
place would be wall to wall people,
Oh,
and some of
wow.
these people would go up there and they would do full on like performance
Yeah.
because they're that good. They don't even need to do the they just get up there and a cappella. They don't even need the
Yeah.
music. But it was
Yeah.
pretty incredible. Some of the friends I knew that were so into it, but
Yeah.
I never really got that into it because I just felt that my voice wasn't that good. Although I will admit I do a mean Mustang Sally if
Oh,
I have good background singers. Two or three
you
really
know,
good female background singers. I do a
oh,
killer
yeah.
Mustang
I'd
Sally.
totally, I'd totally be your backup singer for that. My mother's name was Sally. So, yeah. So I
There
know
you
that
go.
song.
There you go.
Yeah, she was great. She passed away in 2020. So, But shout
Oh,
out to my mom, if
that
you're
is just
listening.
around the corner behind us. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and she was fun.
I bet.
Yeah, she was fun. But
Well,
she
she was
was
your
only
mom. She had to be fun.
she was only 17 years older than me, so she was a baby having a baby.
Oh, wow.
So, but yeah, we grew up together.
How was your Memorial Day?
It was really quite busy. I had, I podcasted this morning or this afternoon at 4. We did the news. I don't know if you caught that with Jenny and Aiden from Ireland.
I did not
Jenny's
catch it live. I plan to go back and check it out.
yeah.
Anytime that somebody from Ireland uh, visits with anybody over here with a show, I find that incredible.
Oh
And
yeah. It was. I
so,
thought it
yeah,
was pretty incredible.
I bet.
Yeah.
What else did I want to ask you? I know what I want to ask you
Uh-huh.
because I get this question all the time. I know you already said you don't feel like you're gifted psychically, and perhaps I have this sense that you're more gifted than either you're letting on or you realize you are. That's just the sense I get. What do
Mm-hmm.
you think's going on in the world today? Why do things seem, as from the perspective of a witch, a good
Mm-hmm.
witch?
Right.
What do you think's going on in the world today? Why it's so ugly and everybody
It's evil,
seems to
isn't
be so
it?
much darkness and hatred and just things aren't good
Well,
right now.
some people have mentioned that it could be the position of the planets. There was, Mercury in retrograde, and that is like a big. It's time for like upheaval, major upheaval. And I think the economy is terrible right now, and people can't afford to live anymore. And so then that turns them, instead of making them less materialistic or give, like be more altruistic, because when you don't, you know I don't know, when you have nothing, it's like you might as well just give everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think this world is really we're set for change. The stock market never reset in 2008, and I think that's set going to happen. We're going to get a reset on that. And I just think greed and avarice in this country have gotten to a point where it's we've forgotten about the people that live here. Washington's gotten so big, they don't even understand what the people need.
Oh, yeah.
And
Terrible.
I think it all needs a real big restructuring, and just an overhaul, to where they're serving us again. And when they go to Washington, it's like going in the service. They live in the barracks. They eat at the commissary. They have uniforms so that people can see them and go, "Oh, hey, I got a question for you." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And name tags, and then they serve their country for 4 years. If they are lucky enough to get reelected, they can do 8. That's what the president does. That's all they get, and then they go home, to their old job, to whatever they had left behind, and that's it. You don't get big salaries. You don't get pensions. You don't get all this bullshit. It's not a lifetime job. It's you're there to represent your people, and they're not doing that. None of them.
Yeah. You're
I mean,
right.
I don't know how you feel about it, but that's kind of my
Much of the same. It's so odd with me. I was never ever a big political guy, and then I just found myself. It just got kind of like laid in my lap, being at least aware of what's happening and sort of kind of into politics. Probably I don't know 10 years ago, but
hmm
before that, nothing. It's just so
it's
odd how
evil.
that
They're
happened.
evil.
Yeah, and now I try like you. We watch far more TV than my wife and I watch far more TV than we should, and we find ourselves sometimes accidentally leaving it on a particular news station
hmm
that just 24/7 around the clock is just
hmm
news. And you're right, it can be very upsetting and depressing. So I
It's
try to
supposed
flip
to be.
over to EWTN a lot and watch whatever the religious channel is
Yeah.
playing. And if
Well, there
it's
you
a
go. That's
show with
probably more
somebody,
inspirational.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll watch like I'll flip over to there if they're showing a good inspirational movie of any type. It doesn't even have to be just about Jesus, but
Yeah.
anything that I know I've heard this movie is is inspirational. We'll
Yeah.
watch, but you're right. It's just such. I try not to argue with people about religion and politics.
And
It it
I try not to argue with people at all, because it's, for me to like get angry and act out in some way is just, I think it's a weakness in me. And because I don't have to act that way, I don't have to feel that way. People don't make you feel or do anything. You feel and do what you want to do. So if well, that guy, he made me mad, and he made me punch him. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm sorry, but you know, people need to take responsibility for themselves and their actions, and they don't want to do that because this is the 30 somethings are the generation that got a trophy for, just being there, just showing up because they're special. They're all special. And so now they're entitled. They feel entitled. And their entitlement is a drag on all of us. And they're just like aimless. I've met so many of them that are purposeless and aimless. And part of it's the loss of community. We used to live and shop and work in our communities. And we had a moose club, and we had an elks club, and we had a church that had people in it. And now there's none of that. No civic, involvement whatsoever for people, and they hate their neighbor. You know. So I mean, what can
You
you
are
do?
you are from I could be wrong. I feel like you are probably from a much smaller town than Las
Yes.
Vegas.
Well, yes, yeah. I'm from a small town in Iowa called McCausland, and there was 500 people there, and I grew up most of my life there. And shout out to McCausland.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I am a small town Midwestern girl. Yeah.
Well, good for you. My wife and I, we never go downtown to the strip. We don't gamble. We don't like the casinos.
I
There's a
don't know. I guess
completely
I didn't
different.
think you. I don't. I thought you lived in California. I didn't realize you lived in.
No, no, we're in Las
Okay.
Vegas, but the
Oh,
outskirts of the valley, it's like a normal city,
like
normal town.
Henderson.
Yeah, but
Henderson's a normal
you get
town.
down into Vegas and it's a completely different world. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right with that. And both my parents, may they rest in peace, are from my dad's small country town in Oklahoma, and my mother's from a small village in Brazil. So they were
Hmm.
very country folk at heart,
Yeah.
So, but I
Small
agree
town
with you
values.
100%.
There's a lot
Yeah.
to be said for small town values.
Didn't do anything special today, eating wise. Everybody's usually a big barbecue
I
Memorial
was so
Day thing.
busy. I didn't have time hardly. I was so busy today, with the earlier podcast, and then I had a friend stop in from out of town. He's a fraternity brother from Palmer College. I went to Palmer College and graduated in 1995 as a doctor of chiropractic, and have my bachelor's degree as well. And yeah, I did that for over 25 years.
Wow. So you're retired.
Semi, yeah, semi-retired. But yeah, he's a was a frat brother, and he stopped by for a visit, and it just so happened it was podcast day.
Whose bike is that you're selling? Motorcycle.
Oh, it's mine. I just it's kind of big for me, and I'm not comfortable on it, so I was just gonna sell it. I really could use the money, honestly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got one sitting in the garage for a long time that
Oh, do you?
I'm thinking about selling.
Yeah.
I
What do you
could,
got?
well, it's an 1100 Honda Shadow American Classic. It looks like a
Ooh,
Harley
nice.
fat boy.
Yeah,
But
that's a nice bike.
we laid it down once, and
Mm,
I told her, when we heal up from this and the bike gets fixed, even if we don't only do it one time, we need to hop
yeah,
back on and ride it again, which we did.
yeah,
Well, we were in a club at the time, so
uh-huh,
we jumped back on it as soon as we could and rode with
yeah,
the club for a few more years. But
yeah,
then it got to a point where we realized, right now, if we were to lay it down again or get in a bad accident, we've got too much going on,
right.
to sacrifice that. So one day we both just kind of decided we're done in the motorcycle club life, and
Yeah.
that was it. But
That's
yeah,
that's
I'm thinking
kind of
about
fun.
selling it.
That's kind of fun, Rev, that you were a biker.
Did you see the movie 3,000 Miles to Graceland?
I heard of it, but I
Well,
don't
there's
think
a
I saw it.
scene where Kevin Costner is driving in the desert somewhere. I know where he was at, but in the
Uh-huh.
movie, he's in the desert somewhere with a girl that he just picked up, and a motorcycle club pulls up behind him, and then they pull alongside and continue on and pass him. And the leader in the back stops and rides alongside of him for a while, and they chat. That was the Red Riders, and that was the club I was in. We were in
Oh wow,
that one
that's
scene in the
cool.
movie, but we weren't a motorcycle club. We weren't definitely weren't one percenters, and definitely not a hardcore motorcycle club. We were a part of a
Right.
federation of clubs here in Vegas. We did a lot of charity work. And
Yeah.
then things got that world out here. And in fact, it's funny, just before we started the show here, there was a biker club shootout on one of the highways here just outside of town.
Oh no.
I don't didn't get the specifics, but I was in Laughlin when it was the Mongols and the Hells Angel, I believe, had that big shootout
Wow.
inside the casino. And ever
Wow.
since then, that world got really weird out here. And
The
my
biker
wife and I
world's
got out of
honestly
it.
kind of weird out in the West. I mean,
Yeah,
to be honest, you got the Hells Angels out there and stuff, and the whole, association with, Manson and stuff, and the whole, was it Big Sur, thing in California where, like people died because they, did security. The Hells Angels did security for the concert for the Stones,
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and then some people died, and it was like, yeah, the bikers that have kind of, had a little reputation about being pretty tough in the West.
Yeah. So we just kind of, it just got to a point where we noticed there was more and more, and I don't judge. I try not to judge, but I
I
could
try
tell there
not
was
to
more
too.
and more people of a shady character coming into our own club, and
Yeah.
then some of the higher ups in the club were thinking about. We had never put the MC patch on the back. We just considered ourselves a social club, but
Uh
a
huh.
couple of the higher ups were starting to think about
What does that
making
mean?
us MC is motorcycle club,
Oh,
and then
okay.
you kind of elevate into a different level and
Okay.
start running with different clubs. And we saw it coming, so we thought this is probably a good time for us to gracefully kind of
Bow
bow
out.
out of this,
Yeah.
because that wasn't our scene. We
Yeah. And you kind of have to choose who your friends are, because you just don't want to associate with everybody. I mean, it's just whatever's best for you. What
absolutely.
what people fit into your life better. Um, yeah, because I've had to kind of switch things around in my life at times,
Are
and
you going to get another bike, a smaller one?
I have a smaller one. I have a
Okay,
1981 200 Honda Twin Star,
very
and that
cool.
is my bike of choice. And I
Cool.
used, I was thinking, oh, I need to move up. I need so I can ride with the big boys, and I can get out on the highway. Get my motor running. Well, I I got it, and I rode it a couple times, and it was kind of tall for me, and I actually dropped it, and I think I broke my kneecap. And
Oh
after
no.
that, I was like, I don't think I want to ride this anymore. And I went back to my 200 gladly, and I'm just going to stay with that one.
Very cool. Good for you. Be care. I would imagine it's also. I could be wrong, but where you're at, probably riding is maybe a little more enjoyable than it is out here. Our town, the
it's
drivers
really
are
enjoyable.
crazy here, and you got to really be. You
Oh
got to
yeah,
have
because
your
I'm
head
like
on
that
this.
interstate, and so see, I don't ride on the interstate. I have like I ride around on the streets, and I live on the bike path. So where I live is kind of like the country, almost like a park. It's like living in a park because I'm right on the river. So and the bike path goes on my street, and so then my little motorbike, I'm putting around. It's fun though. I love it. And like, if you're hot, you just go out and jump on and take a little ride around the block and you're good to go. Wind
Are
therapy.
you near the wilderness? Are you out in the country in the wilderness?
It's pretty darn dark on my street when it's nighttime. It's pretty darn dark, and I put my bright on, and it's still pretty darn dark.
Do you
So
get? Do you have much UFO activity or Bigfoot activity in your neck of the woods?
I've never seen Bigfoot, and I've never heard of anybody seeing Bigfoot here, except for on I forgot on my door somebody stuck Harry from Harry and the Hendersons, and they stuck Harry's face on my door. So when you come to the door, you see Harry at
That's
my door.
funny. That's
Yeah,
funny.
I don't even couldn't even tell you who did it. So, but I kind of thought it was funny. I left
I'm
it.
into all of that stuff. I love
Yeah.
it
Well,
all.
and I'd love to see a UFO, but I can't tell the difference between the drones that the government's flying around and the UFOs. So, and I have a lot of air traffic too, where I live. It's the river is almost like a highway, and I have barges on the river. The planes go, sometimes up and down the river or across, to the airport in Moline, and then I have train traffic behind my house, and then truck and car up on the bridge on the interstate. So planes, trains, and automobiles and barges. Yeah.
That is very cool. We're thinking about possibly, we're so attached to this home now, and I live in a haunted house
Right.
that
I
we,
know.
you know how that is. You get
Yeah.
attached, but
Well, yeah.
we've thought many times about. I mean, we moved into this home 20 years ago, and it was a fix 'em upper, and we never did anything, so it's in
Oh,
bad shape. But we were
it
thinking
still needs
about.
fixing upping.
Oh yeah, big time. We thought
Mhm.
maybe we'd move out to the country after this. We'd sell the home, move out to the country, but I don't know where we would go.
I tell you,
Um,
out in the country where you live, out to go out to the country would be kind of scary. There's probably big snakes out there, and and anymore the water situation. What's that like
yeah,
for you guys out there?
it's not good. It's not good. Our lake here, Lake Mead, is
Yep,
so low now that it is
it was
of
like
all
10
of.
or 20 feet less, wasn't
Oh,
it?
it's even more than that in some areas. I
Is
mean,
it?
they've
Yeah.
shut down all the harbors where you can launch your boats except for one of that whole big lake.
Wow.
All of the
It's
harbors
all
got
dried
shut
up.
down. You can only load at one. It's like a 3 hour wait just to put your boat in the
Wow.
water at this one
Yeah, and
dock. And everything's coming up now. Dead bodies and sunken
ooh.
ships and
Oh, you know
sunken
what? Go
planes.
out with a metal detector. That would be. You might find some good stuff.
You never know. You never
No, you
know. But
don't.
yeah,
I'm a
well,
treasure hunter too. I love doing stuff like that. Finding a little treasure, like my backyard is like a treasure hunt.
a lot of people go out here. They have the hobby of finding meteorites, and they
I
just walk
found
out.
one.
Yeah, they go out to the middle of the desert and then they walk around for a couple of hours with their metal detector and
Hmm.
get a bag full of it.
Oh
They get
wow.
into that, and some of it's, I
Yeah,
guess, valuable.
yeah.
So I don't know, but you're right.
I
Out
found
in
a,
the
I found a
country, it
really
can be
nice
scary.
one. But I
Very cool.
collect rocks. I'm a rock collector, so rocks and coins. I'm kind of nerdy. I'm
Hey,
nerdy by nature, so
hey. Well,
yeah.
yeah. Are you into all the ghost stuff, the paranormal, the ghosts, and
I'm very interested in it, and the like using the ghost box and stuff. I'm fascinated by it, but I'm also terrified. Raised being raised a Christian, I still have those lingering feelings of, uh, gosh, I don't think I should mess around with this. You know what I mean? Even though I know knowing what I know I can do it. It's just you know you feel nervous and a little bit scared uh,
absolutely,
when you're
absolutely. Well,
messing around with stuff like
I
that.
always advise people not to mess around with that anymore, even though I had been, uh, you know, uh, for lack of a better term, a Ghostbuster for real since like I was 10. But I really don't do that much anymore. We just, my wife and I work our cases when the phone rings and they come across our desk, and we, go through the motions and do that. But just to
How do
go
they
out
find
ghost
you?
hunting, probably, I would imagine, I don't really ask people, but I would
Mhm.
imagine they probably go online and type in, who knows, spiritual
Well, I
warfare
suppose
or
they can get you through the exorcism society,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely. And
Is it?
I should probably ask people that more, but usually I just go into that mode to just,
Yeah,
what, go through the motions and start helping them. But probably find my website, or maybe they see the show, or word of mouth, or you're
yeah,
right, probably through the organizations. Yeah.
yeah. Nice. Um, so, how long have you been a part of the exorcism organization?
Years and years and years. I got, actually, my wife and I probably didn't run into our first. Well, I don't think, honestly, all my years growing up doing this, I don't think I ever actually, and I could be wrong, I could have been fooled. I'm the first to admit that I might have encountered a spirit, and it might have been a demonic tricking me, and I might have thought I was dealing with the demonic, and it was really just a pissed off, disembodied spirit. I don't know, maybe, but I don't
Yeah.
really think I did. And then it wasn't until after my wife and I met, got married, and we started investigating together as a team and put together
Uh-huh.
a team. It wasn't until shortly after that that we ran into our first real bad case. And at the time, I didn't know how to handle that. So that was the put the wheel in motion, everything in
Hmm.
motion to get me on the path to become ordained
Yeah.
after that case, because whatever we ran into on that case followed us home, and it stayed in our house probably for 3 months, and it
Oh my
was
gosh.
bad. And I reached out into the paranormal community looking for help.
Yeah.
And for once, the paranormal community came through for me, and they introduced me to my then mentor, who is now retired. But she took me under her wing and helped me fight whatever this was that was here and get it
Hmm.
out of our home. And she saw something in me that I didn't see at the time and said, I think you were meant to be an exorcist. And if you're interested, if you feel the calling,
Hmm.
I can put you through our training and get you ordained.
Nice.
And we were still having some issues, so I thought it might be a good idea, because next time, God forbid, if this ever happens
Yeah.
again, I want to be able to know how to fight.
Right.
And so that's what put it into motion. So it's been, 6, 7, 8 years since I've been ordained,
Okay.
and I've never looked back. I think it was all meant to be.
Yeah. I know sometimes you just know in your heart that things are meant to be, and that you're on the right path because you keep getting the signs that say, "Yeah, come on over this way. You're doing good."
Don't trust me. I tried to quit a couple of times. My wife was pretty much the target of whatever that followed us home that one night,
Oh,
and it left her like she's the healthiest person I know. She's
uh-huh.
16 years older than me, but doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, no history of cancer in her family. And this demonic attack left her with 3 very rare forms of cancer.
Oh my gosh.
So here I am trying to finish my training, juggle cases, and help my wife fight for her life for
Right.
years.
Hmm.
And I was actually, then I came under attack at a case, and that was so frightening that I did. I actually left the field for about a year.
Yeah.
But I had and I never really knew for sure if what happened to my wife was the result of her attack.
Hmm.
But I had a friend who I knew all my life, and he was an atheist, and he was actually living on the East Coast, and he was on his deathbed
Oh wow.
with colon cancer. And he called me up. This is one of those nights where I'm looking at my wife lying in bed thinking, I'm probably going to wake up in the morning. She's not going to be alive any longer. It was a
Mm.
rough night.
Yeah.
And so I went to this all night prayer chapel that was open around the corner for me. And when I got back from that visit there, doing whatever I needed to do to beg for whatever help I needed to ask for to, you know, spare my wife's life, whatever I need to do for you, God
You're
help.
you're ready to promise anything.
I came back and the phone was ringing, and I'm like, "Who's calling me at 3 in the morning?" I pick it up, and it's my friend. I didn't know at that time he was just hours away from being dead, but he told me, I just saw God, and
Oh
God
wow.
told me to tell you that Sharon's going to live, and that you need to continue to fight those responsible.
Hmm.
I took that as a clear sign that I needed to get back, finish my training, get
Hmm.
ordained, continue doing what I'm doing. And um, thank you, Jesus. Sharon survived, and she's still here today with us. And
Well, there you
um,
go. That's blessed be.
yeah,
That's great.
there's their divine intervention.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and then my friend passed away, and I spoke to his family after that, told them the call that he had made to me. They were so happy that he had, whatever God is to you, or anybody or me, he
Hmm.
found that before he passed on.
Yeah.
So that was
The creator is amazingly complex, because everything that happens, every turn of the wheel, creates another, incident or another, uh, thing that'll happen in your life that leads you to another thing and another thing, and it's all, I think, predestined. I think God has a plan for you. I feel that way, that there's a plan for me. And if I'm living that plan, then things go well for me. If I stop living that plan, or I let myself, fall into depression or something, I'm not serving anybody with that. And so, then I have to pull out of it and,
Well,
bring
when
anger
I
to
look at you, and until you correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm not judging, but when I
hmm
look at you, like I said, I know you have a good heart. I know you have a good soul. Your heart's in the right place. You seem happy. You seem
hmm
comfortable in your own skin,
Yeah.
and you're living the life the way you want to live it.
Yeah.
That's what God wants for all of us. And so,
Manifestation.
yeah,
Manifestation. You have to know what you want. You have to follow the path to get to where you want. You have to make goals. You have to, what little thing can I do today to get closer to this goal,
absolutely.
whether it be like semi-retirement or, owning your own home. You have to take the steps towards meeting that, or you're never going to get there. So I would say, make goals, manifest your life. If I manifested my cat Bob. Um, my cat, I had a cat Wilson, and he was my familiar, and he died brutally in the road. Somebody ran him
Oh,
over, and it was awful, and I was so broke up about it. And I went to get the Bible. I was going to read the 23rd Psalm for the cat, as I bury him. And so I look in the Bible and I find $20. I'm like, great. So then I think, well, maybe I should keep flipping. $400 more, 420. I knew I had put that money there myself and forgot about it. So, with sometimes with tragedy, there's a blessing, in there somewhere. And then I was real distraught, didn't have a cat, and I loved the purr. And I had this little toy cat, and I said, I think I want a cat. And 2 days later, Bob shows up on my porch right in front of my door, and he looks just like the cat that I was holding, the,
oh,
the toy cat. It's amazing. My only explanation is that I manifested this cat.
yeah.
So, but I've manifested people as well. So you
Did you
make things
did you
happen.
manifest the interview tonight?
I kind of did, yeah. I wanted to get with you and chat and like get to know you, and like, let kind of, let you in on some of the stuff that maybe you didn't know, and just have a better understanding of, what we both do. And that's really, I think we're accomplishing that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I got to have you on my show.
Well, that'd be
And
great. I would love that. Yeah.
I'm going to 2 nights a week. So it's Mondays at 5 p.m. Pacific,
Okay.
starting 1 week from today, next Monday, and
Okay.
Fridays, 2 p.m. Pacific. And that's been that way for 2 or 3 years now. So
Yeah,
whatever.
I
I
mean,
know
I
you're
could
one
do.
of the busiest people on the planet. You got a bunch of shows already.
I
So
got 3 shows now, and well, at least I think I still have three. But anyway, I could probably comment Monday, on a Monday at 5.
oh, very
That's
cool.
it's just back to back, because I do 4 to 5, and then I could do. Well, is it 5 o'clock your time though?
5 o'clock Pacific. Yes,
Pacific. Okay, so that would be 7 o'clock my time. I think.
correct. You're Central.
Yes, Central.
Yes, it would be 7 o'clock your time for an hour on camera like this.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be next week. It would be, I think I'm booked to the end of July
Okay.
or August. I think I'm already booking for August, and I might have even already booked some dates in September. So I
Oh
will
wow.
throw some dates at you, and we'll
Well,
just
geez, maybe we
continue.
should just wait until October, because that's my birthday month and Halloween. So
Okay. And I
it's just
guess what? Halloween's on a Monday this year, and I'm doing
oh,
a Halloween show. You can be my Halloween guest.
you know what? That would be perfect. It's my favorite holiday
I'm,
because
I, am telling you, when we get done here, I'm going to open my calendar. I'm mark.
that would be great. Here, I'll mark
Actually, I
mine too.
got it right here.
I have
Hold
one
on a
too.
second. It is Monday. Oh no,
What?
I got somebody on.
Oh no.
Tell you what we'll do. You will be the Friday leading into Halloween. Oh, Fridays aren't good for you. Darn.
Well, no. I mean, I probably could if I know. I mean, I'm gonna know quite a bit ahead of time. I think I
Maybe,
can make arrangements.
maybe I can talk my producer into doing a special All Hallows Eve, the eve of Halloween show, Saturday night the 30th.
Oh, that'd
My
be good too.
special guest, Madam.
That would be awesome. I love
And
to dress up and
or
pretend
I
to
can
be
get
other
you
people.
in on the
So
well, if you can do a Friday, then we
yeah,
can do the
I could.
28th, which is leading into Halloween weekend, and you could kick off the
Okay.
Halloween weekend for me.
So
Yeah,
20.
every
What's
Monday
at
night
two
the whole
o'clock?
year I've got
Two Pacific.
4 p.m. Central, 5 Eastern.
Okay,
That
so
would
it's
be
4 p.m. on Friday.
correct.
Okay,
Leading into Halloween. That
it's
would be
like
the
happy
28th.
hour Friday. Friday
Yep.
Halloween happy hour.
And you can be drinking for the show if you want and bring your
Oh,
I'll have a carved pumpkin behind me lit up
oh,
all
that's
weekend
nice.
long for whatever
Well, we
shows
should
I
talk
do.
about the how what Halloween traditions mean. Uh, and
Absolutely.
uh, and then because for me it's mostly like autumnal, season changing, equinox, kind of thing. What is it? No, it's Samhain, I think, at the end of the year. So I kind of observe pagan holidays, but it's mostly just like the changing of the seasons, things like that. The moon cycles, because we all kind of like flow on these moon cycles, um, and just the turning of the earth. I ground myself by like literally walking on the ground. So many times we don't even take our shoes off and touch the earth underneath us. So I make it a point to do that, and it just brings me closer you know, to God and the earth and the scheme of things and the planet and Mother Nature.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but I'm kind of like I don't know how you feel about Lilith. I mean, you know who Lilith is, right?
You know what? I didn't know her personally, so
Yeah, she's a little
uh
bit older than you are. You know, a
I
little
don't
bit.
like I said I don't judge, you know.
Yeah.
I understand she's very popular in certain I hate to use the word cult. What other word can I use other than cult?
Well, I don't
Ovens,
know.
movements,
Well, it's
movements.
I mean, you could call a group of witches a coven, if they're working together.
Which
Um,
one's really Lilith in many
yeah.
groups, movements, what have you.
Well, I always
Lilith
think
isn't
of
perceived as being
lesbians.
bad. Some perceive her as being bad, some don't.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's all over the place.
And I think, she was kind of vilified by men who wanted to make an example of her, and if you don't follow and, get in line, this is what's going to happen to you. And we're going to ostracize you and make you look like you eat babies for lunch, you
Yeah,
know? So, I mean, I just think she was kind of villainized and really not treated fairly because she just wanted to be an independent woman and not under the thumb of a man that she maybe didn't trust or, you know, who knows?
absolutely. Yeah.
That's the thing. None of us really knows for sure. We can all talk about religion and we can all talk about, the things that we believe in, but really it's belief. It's not fact. It's not based in fact. I mean, it's just what you believe. And I think everybody's entitled to that because I'm an American and
Absolutely.
that's what we believe. We freedom of religion. That's why the pilgrims came here.
I like not having all the answers. Part of my
Yeah.
passion of investigating the unknown is just that it's
Yeah.
unknown. And you and I
Exactly.
are going to be having this same conversation and up in heaven one day and laughing about all
Yeah.
the things we know then that we don't know
Right.
now.
Right.
And I
Probably.
like it that way.
Yeah. I don't know. You think you'll ever attain true enlightenment?
Oh gosh, I pray for that all the time.
Yeah.
So I hope so.
I,
I hope.
I, I think I get closer, but I'm certainly not there yet. But I did want to say I
Maybe
do
we're
have a
not meant to be being,
I have a picture
created
of
in
Jesus in
God's image.
Gethsemane in my shop too. So I mean I do give airplay to Jesus, and he was in my grandmother's hall the whole time I was growing up. It's like, yeah, no, Jesus has got to go up on the wall. So, But it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and you're delightful. And thank you so much for
I
coming.
love you. I respect you. I pray
Thank
you've
you.
already. I didn't tell you this, but you're already on the prayer list, and I will continue to pray for
Thank
you.
you.
I had a great time,
Thank you.
and I knew I would. Even if I thought I wouldn't, I still would have said yes and came on the show. But
Good.
you
I'm
will
glad.
be on the Friday leading into Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
We'll have a great time. It'll be your show. I will keep quiet, and you can tell
Well,
everybody about all the
ask me some
traditions
questions.
and histories of Halloween and all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
it'll be great. I'll dress up.
Okay,
I'll
very
wear a
good.
costume. All right. Well, have a good night. And
You too.
you guys take care, all of you out there in podcast land. And we'll see you again very soon. God bless.
God bless you.